The case for optimism in the Eurozone economy may be hanging by a thread, but with me down the line to discuss the latest data set from the bloc is Harald-Magnus Andreassen. Harald-Magnus, according to yesterday's data, consumers are spending again, which is mainly attributable to the record lows in the oil market, not to mention festive shopping. But the euro depreciation barely compensated in the export-sensitive markets. So can oil prices really support long-term recovery?
No, I'm a bit more optimistic than that. Of course, decline in the oil price will lift purchasing power substantially in Europe as in other parts of the world, and usually that leads to higher demand and higher retail sales, and that could last for quite a long while. And we saw that a couple of weeks ago, and it was confirmed today, that consumer confidence in Europe strengthened substantially in January. And in fact, it's above average. It's in fact at the same level as in the US if you compare to the average mood in those two regions. So consumers are perhaps more ready to consume than most of us have thought.
Selling price expectations for the Eurozone fell significantly in the services sector. To your mind, does this vindicate the ECB's efforts last week, or is more still to be done?
Well, I think the ECB has done its first important job now, and I think it's unlikely that the ECB will speed up its quantitative easing further than the surprisingly high speed announced last week. Sure, inflation in Europe is now low, and it might be that even excluding oil, the falling oil prices, inflation is coming down. Still, the annual growth rate is quite normal, in fact, at least compared to the recent years, if you take out food and energy from inflation in Europe. But it might be that something is happening now. But if demand picks up due to higher real wages following the decline in oil price, the pricing power in the service sector should be strengthened, not weakened.
Despite headline German unemployment rising to 7% in January, the increase was due largely to seasonal factors. The economy minister said, "We no longer have a contagion risk as we did 2 years ago." Now, given the latest Greek situation, is this really the case?
Well, first of all, take then Germany. It's right that the unemployment rate was up in January, but if you take away the seasonal impact, that happens every January. It was a decline in unemployment in January as in the previous month. And in fact, in Germany now, the unemployment is at the lowest level in more than 20 years. So the unemployment level is low now in Germany. And the number of vacancies are record high. So I think the labor market in Germany is strong. I think the economy minister in Germany is right to say that Europe is better prepared now to take care of sort of a tough Greek situation and troublesome negotiations with Greece going forward than 2 or 3 years ago. But still, Greece might create problems because the demands from the Greek are not easy to satisfy from the other European countries.
Today's headline data was German inflation, which showed a negative number for the first time in years. Given deflation was expected and the Swiss franc was under fire in overnight trading, can the euro overlook the soft reading? Is this really good news for the bloc?
Yeah, sure. Falling negative inflation due to lower energy prices. That's good news for all those people consuming energy. It's not good news for Norway, of course, because we are producing energy, but for consumers, it's good news. And I think that we usually have seen that a decline in the oil price has led to stronger demand for other goods and services, and that's good for the economy. It's not negative, it's not dangerous for Europe to have deflation if it's due to a positive thing like a decline in the oil price. And in fact, the dollar has appreciated and the euro has appreciated somewhat recent few days. And it might be due to better than expected data coming out of Europe. They're not strong, but they are not indicating a further decline in growth and rather an uptick in growth in Europe. So I think that's the reason for a bit more optimistic tune on the euro, even though we have the possible conflict with Greece coming up over the next weeks and months.
Harald-Magnus, pleasure as always to have you on the show. Thank you for your insights. Well, viewers, there is yet more euro data due tomorrow, so see how that feeds into the single currency conversation by clicking back for our hourly updates. Goodbye for now.